Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hooked on Sonics, episode 27. I'm Bruce. That there's Tony. Tony, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. I'm excited. We've got some pretty interesting albums coming up on this week's episode. We've got Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show's second album, Sloppy Seconds, and Shooter Jennings' interesting album, Black Ribbons.
I believe that's where we're at.
I believe it. I believe so.
Yes, sir. And how have you been this week?
Busier than cat with tape on its tail.
I understand. That's why I haven't had a chance to upload our audio or rip and upload our audio from previous episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Boy, if you would understand the weekend that I had. Now we'll talk just about the craziness that went on off the air. But no, man, just Memorial Day weekend, celebrating the soldiers and those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Good times.
Absolutely.
Good times. Yeah. We've been listening to this week.
Well, I picked up something really cool the other day. I picked up an original version with the lenticular cover of the Rolling Stones, Their Satanic Majesty's Request.
Interesting.
Yeah, this thing, it's super cool.
What a nice inlay.
Yeah, super cool inlay. The lenticular cover, it's seen a little bit better days, but this is a first pressing, and I really like this album. $15.
Yeah,
they didn't know what they had. So really the big hit on this was She's a Rainbow. But I like this album mainly because it has the original version of 2000 Man on it.
Nice.
Yeah. So
don't you know I'm a
2000 man.
Some of the stuff that's in 2000 Man doesn't seem to be going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, yeah, that's a sweet pickup, man. Love the Stones. Absolutely love the Stones. When you talk about metal and rock and roll, of course, they're a force to be reckoned with, but I honestly feel like they don't come up in the conversation a lot with a lot of people that I talk to. You know what I mean? Not like people are really familiar with them per se as much as you and I.
Yeah, I think they've been around so long. They just kind of fall along the wayside. Like, well, of course the Stones are there, but we don't think about it.
Right.
They're so iconic, like you don't even think to mention them.
Yeah.
It's weird. So, but it's a really trippy psychedelic album. It certainly isn't their best album, but it's neat. It's cool.
Good.
It's cool. So yeah, listening to a lot of Stones, a little bit more of some Charlie Daniels band, some of the earlier stuff, and of course, listening to some Ike and Tina Turner because God rest her soul.
Yeah, I need to get in there and do that. I need to take that journey here soon myself.
Yep.
Yes, you should. You really should.
Absolutely.
We lost an icon, and that's
absolutely.
That was a big bummer, man. My stepmom was a huge Tina Turner fan.
My dad, he couldn't stand anything that wasn't like country music, really, but he loved Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Back in the day, she had those the pantyhose commercial for legs,
and so she amazing legs in the business.
Yeah, and he fell in love with her.
let's just call it what it is. She had some of the most amazing legs in the business.
Yep.
And she was a woman on stage that commanded respect,
Yes.
and it was absolutely deserving of it. She
Yep.
was a hell of a force, man. And, there becomes a point in time in your life when your heroes all start passing away, and we're definitely living in that time for you and me. I'd say it's a bit of a bummer, you know.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I'm in the state that I'm in. It's like I'm going to see who I can when I can, if I
Yep.
can, because I don't know that they'll be back around.
Yep.
Speaking of stuff that I've been, moving to stuff that I've been listening to, I've been
Yeah.
listening to a bunch of atheists lately. Been listening to some Twin Temple because they're going to be on the Danzig show that's coming to Newport, Kentucky. Danzig just announced a run of dates, and me and Scott are talking about going. So
Okay. Cool.
I think maybe some of my guys from the band might even be going. So I'm looking forward to that. But I've already listened to some Twin Temple, kind of got familiarized myself a little bit beforehand. I really like them. I think they're fun. They're a really fun little band. No disrespect to them by calling them fun or little. They're just they write some pretty catchy little tunes. I dig them.
Yeah.
And then the atheist thing, man, I never got to see them when I was younger, and that was during my big, thrash years, death metal. They're one of the originators of technical death metal, like Death. Death was a technical death metal band, and if you never got to listen to those dudes, man, they are a perfect example of a band that just went from this sound and continuously got better and better and better and better across all albums until Chuck was kind of just like done with it and wanted to move into another direction with,
Yeah.
Control Denied before he had passed away. You know what I mean? So he's a hell of a guitar player, hell of an artist, and I miss him dearly. But I never got to see Death, and I never got to see Atheist, and I loved Atheist. As a matter of fact, it was crazy because the same dude that turned me on to the Great Cat turned me on to Atheist.
Very cool.
Same cat also turned me on to Deicide at the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, man. It's been many,
Is
many, many,
Deicide
many
still
years.
around?
Deicide is still around. I think they're getting ready to drop a new album.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
dude, Aaron got to go see him or meet the singer, and my brother is, I don't like to talk religions and politics on the air, but my brother's a devout Satanist, and he got to meet. I think is it Glenn Buxton or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name. I want to say it's Glenn, but I can't be for sure. Anyways, I think Aaron got to meet him. Was just head over heels about it, man. So. Um, but been listening to that, and believe it or not, dude, kind of going back through my musical journey a little bit. Haven't been listening to much stoner doom stuff lately. Don't get me wrong, I still do. I'm very much anticipating that Church of Misery album. But do you know who's back together and actually doing shows? And there's some footage out there of them doing one recently. All
Boy,
four
that's a
original,
wide question.
all four original members of fucking Biohazard.
That with Evan Seinfeld?
Evan Seinfeld. He's a second cousin to fucking Jerry Seinfeld.
What? I can't believe it.
Dead fucking serious, dude. All sources tell me he is. Blows my
I
mind.
got a second cousin. He's really weird. I don't get it.
You got to admire the dude, man. He's lived a hell of a life. He's been part of a great rock band or a great metal band that had its own sound, dude. Do you remember Biohazard at all?
Yes.
Dude, they really gave me like Suicidal Tendency vibes, but they were doing their thing on the East Coast while Suicidal was doing their thing on the fucking West Coast. And they both had this crossover thrash punk hardcore thing going on, dude. And a lot of people don't realize, man, but I take a lot of vocal influence from New York hardcore and punk and fucking Danzig. You know,
Yeah.
I come off sounding more like Lemmy, but I get, and that's just my tone. You know what I mean? But I take a lot of vocal influence from New York City hardcore, dude. I've been listening to some Biohazard today, dude, and
There you
I
go.
got done checking out your album. I got to been listening to some Biohazard today, and I'm not gonna pull no punches, dude. You're getting a Biohazard album at the end of the show. I'm telling you right
uh,
now, dude.
do you
Yeah.
remember it was on VH1 where it was that big string of where, hey, let's put random D-list celebrities in the house together and see what happens. So it
Oh
was
yeah, 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 dude. I do remember.
Evan Seinfeld,
Um,
Ted
uh,
Nugent,
and
Jason
Skid Row,
Bonham.
fucking
Dude,
yeah, dude.
Sebastian Bach,
And
man.
he almost got his fucking ass kicked several times
Yeah,
over on that
by
fucking
Evan.
show. And Evan
Yeah,
wasn't fucking cool with it at all, dude.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, and I'm gonna tell you what, man, I've always dug that about Evan. He is New York City hardcore. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That whole fucking band is. There's no joke about those dudes. You know, that's
yeah.
not a band you just want to walk on up on and go, I'm going to pick a fight with these fucking dudes. These dudes are what New York hardcore is and was,
Mhm.
you know. But they wrote great fucking anthem like tunes, man. And I'm telling you, I just, have you ever gone back and listened to something you haven't listened to in fucking probably damn near a decade? And
Oh yeah.
it was just like reconnecting with an old friend. Like, damn, man. Like I
Yeah.
remember listening to the album I'm giving you today. Oh, dude, I feel so happy for you. I don't care what you think. I feel happy for you. It's going to be a good album.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
All
yeah,
right.
that's what I've been listening to lately, dude. Sorry to ramble on. I get excited.
No, that's it. We got all the time in the world. Let it happen. So I'm, after that long spiel, I'm sure you're thirsty. So what are you drinking?
Man, I picked these up when we were in Indiana, and I've had them on the air before.
Yep.
I cannot stress how much. No, there are a few different breweries that I absolutely love. Stone Brewing Company is my number one. This right here,
Mm.
these guys are my number two, dude. I love
Okay.
Sweetwater beers, man.
Where are they based out of?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. Let me take a look.
Huh.
I'll
All right.
punch it up on the interwebs.
Well,
We
while
can
you're
do that.
doing that, I'll go through mine.
What do
I've
you got?
got from Abita Brewing Strawberry Lager. They are based out of Abita Springs, Louisiana.
Yes, I'm familiar with their Purple Haze.
Yeah. So I decided to try their strawberry lager. Not too shabby. I
Yeah.
like Shiners. I like Shiner strawberry a little bit better.
Now, I didn't really care for the Purple Haze. It wasn't one of my favorites. Um, I would drink it if it was on hand. Um, where are you guys located? Sweetwater Brewing Company, Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to remember next time I go down through Georgia what that's about. So yeah, I love them, dude. I think they make really good beers, and
Yeah.
that might explain why I'm not able to see them as often here as I like. But I do know
Yeah.
that I can go get them over in Indiana now, and I go to Indiana for a few different things, so that don't bother me.
There you go.
BEERRUN.
Beer run.
Right,
All
right.
we need is a 10 and a 5 and a something and a sober driver. Good old Todd Snyder.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, what kind of news you got going on? Obviously, the tragic passing of Tina Turner, just a huge icon in a lot of different genres. The soul, rock and roll, pop. She did it all.
She did. She really,
Yep.
really, really did. Let's see. News-wise.
Hey, I seen that
Hollywood
George
Vampires.
Strait. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. They're postponing U.S. dates due to Johnny Depp's painful ankle injury. Queen's music catalog could sell for over $1 billion this year. Who the hell is selling the catalog? Is that Brian May that may be doing that?
Man, who knows? Who knows who actually owns the rights to that anymore? It could be Brian May and John Deacon.
It could be.
I don't think Roger Taylor has anything to do with it, or I think he might be dead. No,
Kiss
Roger Taylor's still alive.
Kiss is going to announce their last ever, or has announced their last ever Australian show at an 83,500 capacity stadium in Sydney.
Yeah,
that has some potential to be a huge thing. And
if it doesn't get canceled for low tickets.
Wasp is Blackie Laws has cracked vertebrae. He's expected to heal before the North American tour. King's X is out there doing their thing, which I kind of would like to go see. Cradle of Filth begins working on a new album. And let's see. That's about it, man. It doesn't look like anything major in news. I don't see any major tours or anything coming up. Let's see here real quick. Foo Fighters share another new song, The Teacher. And of course, Chevelle and 3 Days Grace announced a summer 2023 tour. And Black Veil Brides and Velo Valo announced a summer fall North American tour. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Other than that, that is the news.
So you were remiss. You had two huge concert extravaganzas going on in Columbus. You had Sonic Temple Festival.
Correct.
Lots of great artists there. Foo Fighters, I believe, was the headliner last night.
I believe so.
Or Sunday night. I get my days all confused now because of this holiday. Kiss, Rob Zombie. Who else? There's tons of people.
The Deftones were on there.
Yep.
Wolf is somebody I know my kids dig. Godsmack was on there. I mean, it seemed like a pretty solid lineup, man. I mean, it just wasn't solid enough of a lineup for me to go because most of those bands are artists.
Yep. And then over there at Ohio Stadium, I believe it was a attendance record that was broke for Country Superfest with George Strait, Chris Stapleton, Little Big Town, and somebody else.
I do remember reading about that. They did break a record there, record attendance record.
Almost 63,000 people.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Country music, it's a force, man. It's a force. And there's a lot of guys out there, but man, my take on country is a lot of it nowadays is more poppier or rockier sounding than just what I was raised up knowing country to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything evolves. Everything evolves. And if you dig it, you dig it. Because I dig some of the new stuff too. I'll tell you that I didn't know how to feel about that Morgan Wallen kid when I first heard him, but he writes some pretty catchy little tunes. I did dig some of the tunes from those guys from Florida Georgia Line. I like Cole Swindell a lot. So, I mean, when it comes to some of that newer country, I'm not mad at a lot of it. I mean, but some of it, I'm just like, okay, this is very poppy, it's very poppy,
Yep.
And it's fine, But
somebody likes it out there.
Well, if I would have been at that show, the major factor for me would have been George Strait.
Yeah. Well, George Strait and Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton, man, he's a phenomenal artist.
I'm not familiar with Stapleton as much. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a super big country guy. I have nothing really against it. I'm just not it's not, hey, I'm going to go turn this on. It is very rare you find me listening to country music.
Yep.
Very, 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 very rare. That's why when you give me all this Americana and all this country shit, I'm just like, dude, I feel like you're force feeding this shit to me. And it's like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like, come on, man. I know you got some rocking albums in you. You got to hook a motherfucker up. You know.
Yeah.
Not that they're bad. Not that they're bad. I mean, I can review country too, but like, you know, I'd like to see Randy Travis live. Randy's always been one of my absolute favorites, but I don't know that
Probably not now.
I don't think he's in good health. You know, so
No, he had a stroke several years ago, and
he looked pretty bad. Yeah, he looked pretty bad. So
so bad Dick Clark was like, ooh, dude,
he was one of my favorites. You know,
yeah.
I loved a lot of Randy Travis shit.
Oh, yeah.
But that was a time for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Garth Brooks, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed that me and my wife got to go see him. It was my wife's idea. Let's go see him. Let's get these tickets. And I love how he sold his tickets for those shows. First come, first serve. And
Yeah.
it was pretty fucking cool. We had great seats. And that man puts on. I've seen a few country shows, but I'll tell you, you'd be hard pressed to find something that further impressed me than watching all of the Cleveland Cavaliers stadium packed, asses to elbows in 10-gallon hats and flannel shirts, all singing fucking "Blame It All on My Roots." I showed up and moved. Dude, that place went apeshit.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, when I think of great concert moments that I've experienced, you'll never experience. I don't know what the capacity of that venue is, but X amount of thousands of people at one time just dude, you couldn't even hear him.
Yeah. That's the best. That's so good. That's what concerts are about, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, man.
Hell yeah.
Who's the best country
all right, my
artist you ever
friend?
seen live?
Huh?
Who's the best country artist you ever seen live?
Wow. I don't think I've seen a country artist with a stage show like a Garth Brooks or Shania.
I've seen Shania.
The country artists that I've seen, they were just icons. Like, I got to see Willie Nelson, and I got to see his son open up for him. Lucas Nelson and The Promise and the Real, who wasn't country, but it was like jam band type shit, and it was really cool. And Willie was still with it, and he was getting it. David Allan Coe throughout the years, not so much in the last 15 years because his health has just deteriorated bad, but I've seen him play where, you know, the rest of the band was snowed out and it was just him and an acoustic guitar for 3 hours in a little club, and he would just sing anything and everything. Yeah, so stuff like that's really cool. But yeah, as far as like big production country, I don't think I've seen one. Yeah, just haven't got around to it.
See, I've seen Colin Ray. I've seen Mitchell Kirkpatrick, because he's local.
Yeah.
And I've seen Garth and Trisha Yearwood together.
Okay. Gretchen Wilson. I seen Gretchen Wilson at the Big Easy or Club Dance, whatever it was back then.
Yeah.
She put on a hell of a show. Redneck Woman. Oh, so good.
See, I'd like to take Katie to see her if she hasn't seen her.
Yeah. Oh, if she ever goes back out on tour again, absolutely do it. Phenomenal show.
Great. You know who else I liked back in the day was absolutely one-hit wonder, but had an amazing voice. And it's not really country, but I mean, maybe Southern rock.
Yeah.
Alana Miles.
I know the name.
Black Velvet.
I know the name. Oh yeah. No, that's definitely not country, but yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Black velvet and
Ooh,
I think I've got that on karaoke disc somewhere down here. Next time you're down,
you
we'll
don't
sing
see
it.
many. You don't see many women do it. You don't see many women get up there and karaoke.
They're
that shit.
scared.
In all the years I've seen women karaoke, I have yet to see anybody do that and hit it.
Yeah.
I could probably do it better than they can.
We're gonna find out.
I'm just kidding.
On the next episode of Hooked on Sonics, we're gonna karaoke Black Velvet.
So we're on what, episode 27?
27.
27. So we got 28, 29, 30, 31. We got 4 more episodes before the Sabbath special.
How about that?
We should probably sit down and discuss off air what we want to do with that and how we want to approach it.
Yeah, we gotta do some sort of layout skeleton.
Yeah, because we're gonna have a lot of people on. Everybody's gonna want to talk, and everybody should have time to talk. So I do want to get that together.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool, man. Anything else?
No. Let's get on to these albums here.
Want to Rochambeau it?
Who?
You want to Rochambeau it?
I don't know what that means.
That's what that means. It's Rochambeau.
Oh,
that's
Rochambeau.
Rochambeau. All right, ready?
Okay. Roll Tide.
Come on, you're fucking around.
Come on.
Fucking around. They're counting on the delay of the camera. Quit fucking around.
1,
2,
2.
You're fucking around.
3.
Here we go. 1, 2. You're fucking around. I'm done fucking with you, dude.
I'm waiting on you.
All right, since you want to fuck around, you get to go first.
You're so sweet. All right. So I got the honor and the privilege of reviewing Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show's second album, Sloppy Seconds. It was released in 1972. There wasn't a whole lot of actual information on this album I was able to pick up. One of the things that I picked up on immediately, because I'm actually a big fan of this gentleman, there were 3 songs on this album that was written by Shel Silverstein. So if no one's familiar or kind of man, I kind of know that name, he wrote a lot of children's books, and the 2 biggest ones that he wrote was A Light in the Attic and Where the Sidewalk Ends. Just poems, just silly illustrations and stuff like that. I think I've still got A Light in the Attic somewhere in my collection of junk. Yeah.
Pre-adolescent, they're good books.
Oh yeah, and they're just fun. They're just little limericks, and they're offbeat. And that was Shel Silverstein's style. He's an offbeat writer, so he came out with a couple albums on his own, and I've actually got the one album of his called "Freaking at the Freakers Ball," which is the first song on this album. The other song that Shel wrote on here was "Queen of the Silver Dollar," and I believe it was their biggest hit was "Cover of the Rolling Stone." That was probably the most well-known song of theirs. All in all, freaking at the Freakers Ball, they did a good job at this at redoing this. Dr. Hook has 2 vocalists. You either really going to like them or you're not going to care for them. They're both very distinct. So you got the one guy, yeah, man. That's his gig. I dig that voice because it's unique. The other guy who sang a lot on this, the majority of this album, he was trying to be soft and just kind of lilty. I don't know. I don't know. He's trying to put a little too much inflection on his voice in a lot of things. So I was like, eh. So that was kind of a minus for me. But Freaking at the Freakers Ball, really just very tongue in cheek song. This whole album, I would say, is primarily tongue in cheek. There's a couple really good songs that are actually deeper. Um, that would be "Carry Me, Carry," "The Things I Didn't Say," and "Queen of the Silver Dollar."
Is Sylvia's
Queen
mother
of
on there?
No, Sylvia's Mother was actually on their first album, and that was also written by Shel Silverstein. And the album later on was renamed Sylvia's Mother.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the success of that. Um, this version of the Queen of the Silver Dollar, I was not a big fan of it, again, because the delivery was not good. But the song
What?
itself, yeah, the song
Dude, you are
itself is really
shredding
good.
this album up, dude. Get the
No,
fuck
I'm
out of
not.
here.
No, I promise you, I'm not. But Queen of the Silver Dollar is probably one of my favorite Shel Silverstein songs. It's a really good song. My favorite song on this album is probably Last Morning. What a heavy song in the middle of this, just silliness and just outrageous content. You got Last Morning, where this guy is basically like, I'm at the end of my rope, I'm just gonna die. And the description, and as he's looking through his apartment and he's seeing all the trash and just everything, it's just like, yeah, I'm good. And I was like, yeah, man, that hit me good. That hit me hard. That was a really good song. Um, see, Get My Rocks Off, really fun song.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites.
It's a fun song.
I can get my rocks off the
Oh
mountain,
man.
roll them on down.
Yep. And again, it's in that same vein as Cover of the Rolling Stone. Same vein. It's definitely a different song, but just that same kind of groove.
I don't know, dude.
Um,
All I can say is, man, for me, I grew up on this album. I don't know the Shel
yeah.
Silverstein music side of things. I know
Yeah.
that he had his hand in writing some of that stuff, but all I can tell you is I grew up on these guys, and they were just this good time fucking bunch of.
Yeah.
If you see them live footage says, God, what are these dudes on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like from another fucking planet at that time frame, you know? And I dug them, man. I dig
Yeah.
everything about them. I can't say I've heard too many songs by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show I didn't do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whether they were covers of Shel Silverstein shit or not, I've
Yeah.
always fucking dug.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I definitely, this is definitely in my wheelhouse for sure. Um, just some of that, the other vocalists, his stylings weren't it for me, but that doesn't take away from the songs. I really like a lot of these songs. The CD actually has a bonus song, and I wish the song was longer than a minute and a half. Do you remember?
What is it?
Looking for pussy, looking for pussy, and that's pretty much the whole song.
Yeah,
It was just,
I do remember
yeah.
that. Is the
It's just goofy.
refresh my memory because I can't remember the full track listing on this album. Is
Yep.
The Soupstone song on this album?
Nope.
The Wonderful Soupstone. Have you ever heard that tune?
I don't think I have.
Oh man, that's one of my fucking favorites by them, man. You should get um do me a favor after the show if you remember, look up
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Hook's the Glorious Wonderful Soupstone or some shit like that. I know it's the Soupstone. But
Okay.
it's a pretty God, man, it makes you go, wow,
Yeah.
wow, really? Like, wow, like damn. That's crazy. Yeah, you'd have to listen to
Yeah.
it. It's just a good song.
So for me, out of all those, those country blues kind of rock, this little weird subgenre that they're in the conversation for me for sure. They remind me a lot of like Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen, New Riders of the Purple Sage, some of that early David Allan Coe stuff. In that same vein, or Kinky Friedman. Um, I won't give you an album to review by Kinky Friedman, but he's a Jew and he's a cowboy, and he's got a really funny song called "They Don't Make Jews Like Jesus Anymore." It's a fun song. Anyway, same kind of vein as Dr. Hook here. Um, so for me personally, I'd give this album a good solid 8.5. I'd give it a solid 8.5.
That's solid. That album gives a solid 9.5 for me all day long.
Woo!
And that's only because I can't remember the track listing. But everything you mentioned, I was very familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I'd love, to be honest with you, thinking about the things I could have gotten back from my stepdad when he had passed away. If I could have one album from his collection, it would have probably been this one. It would have probably been this one for sure. But yeah, man. Time and place. I think we need to mention that it's a time and a place. There was all kind of different things going on in music at the time, and some people were pushing boundaries in different ways and different aspects, and it was time and place, and you got to be humility. There's got to be some humility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys are a lot of fun, and I implore you, Bruce, please, when you get off the show, look up the Wonderful Soupstone.
Yeah, I will.
I think you'll really. I can't remember how the chorus goes, but I think it's something like I can still taste the broth and the chicken bone and the meat and da 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 from the Wonderful Soupstone. And what it basically, the general premise of the song is they're broke. And they used this stone and put it in water to season the water.
Yeah.
I implore you, please check this song out. I think
definitely will.
You're going to call me and go, dude, thank you. That was a good little tune.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love them, dude. And when I think about bands like that, I think about other bands that I was raised on. That was on my stepdad's side. On my dad's side, I listened to a lot of the Stones and the band. I love the band. I was thinking about giving you The Last Waltz tonight, but after listening to Biohazard, I said, you know what? About time we took him back to high school for a second.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's where my mind frame was coming from.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Well, 8.5, you said?
Yep.
And then it gets a 9.5 from me for sure. Moving into me and what you had given me, I believe, was Shooter Jennings, and I want to say Shooter Jennings and Hierophant, featuring some tracks, information, and stuff with Stephen King. And the title of the name album is Black Ribbons. I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm being very honest. I had a feeling I was going to get into maybe something that was maybe a little Southern rock, maybe a little country, something along those lines, because of the name Jennings and how, related to Waylon and whatnot. First and foremost, let me say the guy's got a very, very, he's got a diverse voice. He's very skilled in many different arts. And I think if you know anything about Shooter Jennings and he is a country artist or a Southern rock style artist, I implore you to check out this album and understand that this man has more talents than just that. I have some issues with the album. And my issues are also the things I like about it. My issues are that if you listen to this album, there are breaks in the album where it sounds like you're listening to a radio station in between these songs that are kind of announcing these songs coming up. And the voice on that is actually Stephen King, and that blew my mind. I recognized his voice right away. So I tend to believe that if these things were not happening in between the songs, this album could be viewed a whole different way.
Yep.
But because these things are in between the songs, it almost guides these songs into what would more or less be considered conspiracy theorist style dystopia. Without those things, I don't think you would understand that's where these songs were going. So, how do you judge the album? Do you judge the album on a whole with the breaks and point that kind of point the songs into saying, hey, these are kind of what's going on? Or do you judge the album based on the quality of just the music and the writing and stuff and whatnot? So you have to ask yourself, how are you going to judge this album? You know, and I'm going to say this album is getting judged on the basic fact and premise of a something like a rock opera. You know, there's just
It's a concept album.
There's a concept. There's a saga going on here. By way of comparison, Operation Mindcrime. You know, not quite. Operation Mindcrime was obviously metal at the time. This is, you know, some good rock and roll and, you know, some variations of and styles of that. But let me get down to the meat and potatoes of what the opening track was really good. And I think it was really wise that on the second track where they did the radio sound, and the radio thing kind of went on from 11 to midnight as you listen to the album. And the album is actually about 72 minutes long, which, I mean, it would be like if you sat down and listened to the radio for about an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked a lot of the songs on here. I mean, a lot of the songs on here. The Don't Feed the Animals.
Yeah.
The Breaking Point.
I figured you'd really like those two.
God Bless Alabama. Mm-hmm. All of This Could Have Been Yours. Oh man, that was I really kind of, you know, and just because I've loved that stick it in your face kind of style thing. Mm-hmm. Fuck you, I'm famous. Oh man, that was a great track.
That's good shake and bake too.
I mean, there's really not a bad track on this album. Everything sounds pretty quality, but once again, I have to ask myself, would the album seem the same without those little quips of radio commentary and showing you where the album was kind of going? And then by the time you get to when the radio goes dead, it's like, you know, one of the things that I tell people all the time is stop listening to the radio. You are not finding your best shit on the radio. It's not there. You want to find stuff that you're really into, things that sound a little more less mainstream or less poppy, you have to get off the FCC's nuts because they control your radio. Do you wonder why bands like Iron Maiden today are still selling numbers of albums compared to the albums they've had in the day? And yes, they're a legacy act. Why can they not get any airtime? It is because of the FCC and stuff like this, guys. So I think there was a big theme of that with this album, and that's what made me really kind of fall in love with this album. And if you listen to some of the stuff in the conspiracy theory side of what was going on in this album, man, is it really conspiracy theory when it almost mimics life? You know, and this is a very thinking album. I'm not saying that it is the way that it is, but I will say that this album will definitely make you think. And if it weren't for those Radio Corps, you may not think as much.
Right.
So, with that being said, because of the whole overall concept of the album, I absolutely loved it. I am not going to rate this album extremely high, but I am not going to rate this album extremely low. So, it did not fall anywhere close to low for me. I like the concept. For this being an introduction to Shooter Jennings, I'm not going to go out and seek any more further Shooter Jennings just for the sole fact that I've already made an association with this style of music. I don't want to go seek out Shooter Jennings with this already as a pre-notion. So what I'll do is I'll wait about 6 months to a year and go, you know what, maybe I should check out that dude's other shit at this point in time and have a fresh set of ears on. So it's not no disrespect to him. It's just I've already have this impression, right? If you went in and bought the Danzig 5 album, you would think that Danzig was a techno artist or an industrial artist like Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
You would have a hard time going and listening to Danzig 1 for most people who really take in music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. With that being said, I am absolutely 100% under all circumstances going to give this album a 9.25.
There you go.
It gets a solid rating. This was a fun album to listen to. It's a thanking album too, man. Like if you really, I'm definitely going to be checking this album out again, you know, and it's because I'll be checking this album out again that I do not want to go dive into a catalog of Shooter Jennings shit if it's anything different than this. And I think it'd be a very harsh move on my part. Don't get me wrong, I can do it, but I already have a pre-notion. I'd like to forget about this pre-notion for a minute before I say, hey, boom. So I'm gonna throw a challenge out to Bruce. When we come back late in next season, I'd like you to give me another Shooter Jennings album.
Okay, I'll give you his first album.
That's my request. Okay. But you got to give it to me later in the season. Okay.
Yep.
I would appreciate that. All right.
Nope, no problem.
And okay, cool. So yeah, 9.25 for me. What do you give that album?
I actually gave it a 9. I gave it a 9. There's a couple of songs on there I don't really like. Triskaidekaphobia, mainly because I can't spell it. Let's see. Lights in the Sky I didn't really like, and Summer Rage was okay.
I mean, there was nothing really wrong with them. They weren't major standouts, but they weren't enough for me to slight this album as a whole.
No, and I'm certainly not slighting this.
If I had to say, I would agree with you on those songs. So for me, that would knock off a quarter of them.
Yeah.
You know, which is where it puts me at this point, about 9.2.
Yeah. So, you know, I started following Shooter right from the beginning. He actually had a band way before all this kind of stuff called Stargun. And it was an LA band, and it was very similar to Guns N' Roses. Very similar to Guns N' Roses. So I even like that Stargun stuff. So he put out a couple of albums, and then he put this thing out, which was like he was just starting to make a name for himself.
Suicide. Putting an album out like this, being in one genre, could have been career suicide.
And it definitely hurt because people were like, what? What is this? And I was like, what? This is great. Because it was different. It was different. And it still had, you know, the God Bless Alabama and stuff in there.
Dude,
Black Ribbons.
Another album I was thinking about giving you tonight, just because we're, you know, this whole different side of a person thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could easily give you something like Henry Rollins, Get in the Van, which is his spoken word about his time on the road with Black Flag. But unfortunately, it is a very, 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 very long album. but it's his spoken word, man. You know what I'm saying? So if I found some of his spoken word, it would be just because I want to show you, hey, we always know Henry the rocker and the punker, but here's his spoken word shit, which is good shit, right?
Yeah.
Or help me out here. Who else does some two-sided shit? I don't know, but but you know what I mean. People who showcase different talents, not just I can do this in this vein, I can do this in this vein too. Oh, Danzig. I was considering possibly the Black Araya 2 album because I don't know if you've ever heard it.
Probably not.
I'm sure you've heard one, right?
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh man, are you serious right now, dude?
Danzig wasn't really big for me.
You dug him.
I dug Can't Speak.
You dug the Lucifuge album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't come on now. Get the fuck out of here.
But what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna go listen to a whole bunch of it.
I don't know.
It was fine. Listen, I got burned on that fucking Elvis bullshit. I got burned.
What? I actually wanted to talk to you about that. That's something else
I'm still scarred.
I've been listening to too. And I'm going to tell you something. I bought it.
You're the guy.
I bought it just so I could take it in because I felt like what little tracks I heard off of it wasn't fair enough for me to fucking dog on it. And I'm going to be honest with you. After a few listen throughs, and believe it or not, it was my wife who kind of pointed something out to me. I'm actually fucking pretty cool with it.
You're crazy.
I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, please enlighten me.
I think he recorded this with the intention of it sounding the way that it did.
Okay.
No, seriously. I sat and I was listening to it with Kate, and I said, "Man, I'm not really sure how I feel about this, man. This production and everything just sounds off. It just doesn't seem right." And she said, "I love it." I said, "Well, then tell me why you love it." She goes, "Because that sound is what Elvis would almost sound like if you were listening to him off of a record." And I said, "Are you serious?" She goes, "Yeah, you could just tell that they're using things from that time frame." And she pointed that out for me. And Glenn's been known to do that. Glenn's been known to take certain fucking amps and shit just to replicate a sound because it's going to produce what he's looking for. So I sat down and I gave it a real hard listen to, man. And I'm not even going to fucking bullshit, dude. And I think at the end of the day, he didn't do no disrespect. And I think trying to replicate what those Elvis records sounded like back in that time frame, I wasn't upset with it, dude. At the end of the day, after the second listen through, it started to grow on me, and on the third listen through, I was like, I get it. I'm not going to tell you it's a 10 album. I am not. I am not going to tell you it's a 10 album. But I am, however, going. I really wish he would have picked some other tunes. I would have really liked to have seen him do more of the well-known stuff, Hound Dog, or I would really love to hear how Glenn's take would have been on those songs, like a Jailhouse Rock or something like that. I expected Jailhouse Rock to be on, but it wasn't.
Are you lonesome tonight?
But see, once again, you also stated you're not a big Glenn fan. He wasn't really a big thing for you.
Buddy, most Glenn fans ain't going to listen to that and say, oh, that's a great piece of work.
Listen, man, if you know anything about some of his ballads and his crooning, you can kind of fucking understand what's happening here, dude. Because if you look, okay, Blood and Tears. off of Lucifuge. Blood, tears, blood and tears, since you've been gone. It has that old 50s fucking crooning sound. Sistinus off of Danzig 3, or Sistinus, however you want to pronounce it. Take my hand. That has that Elvis kind of fucking Roy Orbison vibe, which people will always tie to him, dude. They'll always tie him to Morrison, Elvis, and fucking Orbison, dude. That's just what the tones are you get out of this man. And I can't dog on the album. I can't. I think for what it is, and if you know Glenn's history with performing in that vein, I ain't mad at it. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Like I said, I can't give it a solid 10. I just can't give it a solid 10. But let me listen to it a couple more times, and I'll give you a for sure rating. I still need to wrap up my Metallica rating. I haven't finished that album.
Slacking.
I'm sorry the album didn't do much for you, man.
Which one?
The Danzig album.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
Did you find any track redeemable?
No.
That's a shame.
I would say that album is probably worse than that damn Black Sabbath album that you gave me.
Well, that's where we differ. That's where we differ. That's where we differ in musical choice. I like those.
Yeah.
You do not.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, but we definitely come from two different musical backgrounds. You know, we have our influences. You're more so influenced by, you know, Van Halen and, you know, Americana and country and stuff like that. I'm more influenced by, you know, old school Sabbath and, you know.
Also my.
Yeah. I mean.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Are you trying to say, what was that? Which one did you give me? Born Again?
Tear.
Yeah, Tear. You're trying to tell me that you're comparing Tear to old school Sabbath?
It was a different time and era.
Oh, of course.
I can't compare it. No, I mean, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, dude, you can argue and say whatever you want. At the end of the day, if Iommi's involved, it's Sabbath. I don't care who's singing. Are you going to tell me Ozzy could have continued Sabbath with any other guitar player?
We'll save that question for the Sabbath episode.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade, dude. When you think of Iron Man, you're not thinking of no, the first thing you're thinking of is John, you know what I'm saying? Let's be honest.
Well, I think of the bass line, but that breakdown. Oh,
yeah.
Anyway, so give me your album that you're giving me for next week, would you?
Dude, it's probably a shame because now I want to give you the Black Mariah album, but that can wait on another day. I'm going to stick to my guns because I felt very strongly about giving you this album when I started the episode, and I'm still going to give it to you. You are getting Biohazard, Urban Discipline.
Okay.
Now, on this album should be noted, the song Punishment was one of the most played songs at its time on MTV's Headbangers Ball, on most requests.
Very cool. And I, sir, in turn, I did a lot of soul searching all week trying to find the best representation that I could for this artist. And I got it was a toss-up So it was either going to be the Rolling Stones Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, the 40th anniversary edition that had BB King and this artist, or a whole album of their own. So I decided, I decided on the vein I was going to do. Then I was like, okay, am I going studio or am I going live? So I went through a bunch of studio tracks. I'm like, it's good, but it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit like what was on on your Yayas. So I decided you are getting in person Ike and Tina Turner live at Basin Street West, San Francisco, 1969.
Is this on the tube?
Yes, it is.
How long is this up?
30. Hold on, I'll tell you in just a minute.
It's a live album.
One
It's only
momentum.
30 minutes.
Hold on. Hold on.
A live album that's only 30 minutes.
Hold on. It is 47 minutes and 20 seconds.
All right, that makes more sense. All right, cool. All right, and what's the name of that again?
In person, Ike and Tina Turner live at Basin Street West, San Francisco.
Nice. I'm going to look forward to that.
So good. So good.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's the Queen. I don't care much for Ike. Fuck him.
We'll talk about it.
Hey, the ways he abused her was not correct. He's a punk bitch motherfucker.
After you listen to this album, we'll definitely talk about it.
Yeah. All right. We'll go into it next week.
Yes, sir.
I think we've yammered on for enough this evening. We're at about 9:30 here, so it means the episode will be up hopefully by 10. Yeah, barring any bullshit. But with that being said, if you like what you see here, once again, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get everything uploaded to Spotify as soon as we can. Another thing I'd like to note, if you are in the Columbus area, I have two announcements here for you. My band, the Nomads of the Void, have recently parted ways with our original drummer, Tim Hawker. We wish him the best of luck. But we are looking for another drummer. If you are interested, reach out to Anthony Skinner on Facebook or the Nomads of the Void on Facebook. We play stoner doom, drone style sludge metal. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out. Also, if you are in the Columbus area this weekend, Friday, June 2nd, I will be at Ruby Tuesdays live to bear witness to, I believe it's Insidiant, Dresden Electric, and Beyond Neptune is doing their CD release party. So if you dig those dudes from Beyond Neptune, this is a good chance to see them in Columbus. They do a lot of out-of-town shows. I think it's only $5 at the door. Ruby Tuesdays, Friday, June 2nd, this coming weekend.
There you go.
With that being said, Bruce,
Tony,
you will always be the man of the hour, but not the hourly man. And with that, you can shake hands with me.
I extend to you a Laurel and hearty handshake.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll keep doing it as long as you keep watching.
Or we don't kill each other.
And with that being said, Bruce, you have a good night. And folks out there in YouTube, Spotify, podcast land, good night. See ya.
See y'all.